Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
And a good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout live on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Yes, it is me, Matt Awanek. You're stuck with me for 2 more hours here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joining me today, Murray McCourt, back in the Hangout after a few weeks away doing some business stuff and new haircut recently.
Yeah, I got a haircut on Friday, but I've been toying with different hairstyles for like 4 months right now, trying to figure out.
Good.
You like it?
I liked your last one.
Well,
your hair's always looking good.
Zach,
is
also
it?
with
I
us today.
appreciate it, buddy.
Your hair is always on point. I always find.
Well, usually Tommy Gazzola is sitting beside me here, so I got to make sure that I'm doing my best.
You got to match up to him.
I got to try to match up with Tommy G, man.
People will notice a lot of hats for me this week. I don't do my hair on when I do morning shows. I'm not waking up to get it done.
Crawl out of bed, slap a hat on, and out you go, hey?
Yep. Yeah, I'm not doing my hair.
How's the traffic at that time of the morning?
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I bet.
I literally was thinking about that as I was driving in today, too. It's like, that's the one thing I do love about the morning show is that it's time-wise, if I could hit every light, it's about a 15-minute drive. If I don't, it's 18 minutes. Like, it's nothing. It's an easy drive.
And if you left at 8:30, what would it look like?
It's actually not much worse. It's like couple 20-some minutes, like 21, 22 minutes.
Yeah.
If,
but I guess you are coming
perfect.
against the flow because everyone's going into the city. You're kind of going out of downtown.
Yes, I've always had that luck with that. There's only one spot on, I always forget what road I'm on. I think it's 107th or whatever, where there's a lot of people turning left because of, I think, construction from Groat Road Bridge. They've all come onto this road. And there's usually a long line of people wanting to turn left.
Yeah.
And so you have to make sure you stay in the right lane. But that's the only part that could get me where it's a little bad, but it's actually pretty easy. How long does it take you guys to get here?
Depends. From my house, man, normally maybe 22 minutes, but I've had days where it's been an hour plus to get here to the Hangout because it's that time, right? And there's all that construction on 170th, all the construction. I live in McTaggart in the south side of the city, and so there's all that construction on Twilliger Drive getting onto White Mud and all that. So, and then if there's a little snow on the ground, people forget how to drive and it's just a mess.
Oh, it's so bunged up there. Like getting to work for me, it's way quicker. Probably, 20 minutes or depending on how fast I'm going, if there's people in the fast lane, whatever. Today, it kind of backed me up a little bit because it's closer to rush hour. It is during rush hour. But when I'm coming in for my normal, around 11, barely anybody's on the road. So 20 minutes doesn't really waver away from that. But getting home, I find it's really bad because of all the construction near the mall, and then you go down on the White Mud as well.
Where are you?
For me, I'm south side as well, and there's a lot of construction there. So even when I cut on the Henday, I'm like, okay, it's 7 o'clock. There shouldn't be any traffic, but I don't know why it always gets bunged up for me.
Yeah, he's close to he's on that southwest leg. He'd have to go to the southwest leg of the Henday, which of all the part of the Hendays in the quarters, that's the worst of them all.
Yeah,
southwest is the
one
worst
too?
part. There's bumpiness. I don't know. It's just always loaded with traffic. Although they're expanding, I don't know if it's done, but they were expanding that to the 3 lanes.
Over the bridge there. I mean, that was three, almost 4 years of over 2 hours long, or 2 years, longer than it was supposed to take to get that bridge work done. And it's done now though. So it's actually not bad.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'd also, we can get into a lot of things with things like this, but I don't know why they made that a 2-lane road in the first place. You knew there's going to be traffic on this. You knew there's going to be a lot of people. The Henday should have, from the start, been 3 lanes minimum.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And you look, too, now, if you live in, Yager Ridge area or Windermere, man, the traffic just getting out of your community. There's one way in and one way out. Just getting out of your community takes forever. And, man, I don't understand why people would enjoy living there just when it takes that much time just to get out of the community, let alone when you get to Henday or White Mud or wherever you're going. I mean,
and it
it's
doesn't
just
even
not
matter
fun.
what time you go at. You could go at 2 p.m. on a Sunday or something, and it's always backed up because people are always shopping there. But during rush hour too, It's backed up all the way down to like the lights where you turn into Windermere, closer like past near the Cabela's or whatever when you go, what is it, Rabbit Hill or whatever. But that whole area, it's just like I avoid it like the plague.
Where exactly
Honestly.
do you live? Because we shop in the same areas, clearly.
Yeah, well, I live closer to Century Park. Super close to Century
yeah.
Park, yeah. So I like that area, but that has construction too. I
Yeah,
can
that
complain about
construction
that
on
all day.
111th Street. Yeah.
Yeah, all the way down. It's just like, okay. And then you try and turn too. Like they change it up every week. So I'm not always driving down there when I get to work because I'm going on the hen day. But when I decide for whatever reason to drive down 111th, the turning always changes and you have to like pay attention so much. Not that I'm paying attention on every off day, but like when I was turning left one time, it used to be the double turning left lane when you're turning down 23rd off 111th, heading towards like Mill Woods or whatever area. And they changed it to one lane, but the signage didn't really show that. So there was 2 turning lanes when there was only supposed to be one, and there was only one entrance. So it like backed people up, and I was just like, this is terrible. This is terrible. And there's pylons everywhere.
I don't know. And you get so excited too when something finally finishes. You're like, yes, this is going to make my life so much easier. And then they just start something else, and it makes your life hell again, trying to get anywhere in the city. But it is what it is, isn't it?
VR, don't get me going. I'm not getting into that. And then nasty chat. I think Cody's trying it. I'm not going there. I am not going there at all. On the show today, we got the EST Flyweight to LA Keyword to give you, presented by the 780. We will talk Oilers. We will talk Murray's golf trips, like golf merch trips.
Yeah, I haven't been
Pro Shop
golfing.
trips. Not the golfing. Actually, how's the shoulder going? And we got to talk UFC
Well,
or the labrum. How's that going?
I
for you?
just got the green light on Wednesday of last week that I can start lifting lighter weight on my
Good.
right side now. So I'm making progress. Absolutely making progress. I mean, it's still there. It still hurts and with certain movements, but I'm definitely noticing a significant improvement. I mean, there's a lot of
good.
things that I can do. Like I played hockey, road hockey with my kid yesterday. I can actually shoot the puck again now without my shoulder. Like I can actually like really shoot it. Where before when I was playing road hockey with him, I just kind of like dribbled along the ground when I was shooting it because it just hurt too much. I couldn't do it. So, I mean, when I was really happy, like this is progress. And getting able to lift weights and whatnot. Like I have to be careful. It's a lot lighter weight than I normally lift and whatnot. But there's definite improvement, and I can actually see that maybe in a couple months I'll be able to swing a golf club again.
Just in time for a golf season. Can you believe some courses are still open?
It's normal for a few courses.
What's the issue of staying open too late?
Well, if you walk on frozen grass, you kill it. So you're absolutely compromising the conditions of your golf course for the spring. Your spring conditions are be absolute trash if you're open right now and playing. Plus, you don't make any money anyways. I mean, the window of time that you can actually, it's warm enough to play golf is very small. The window of opportunity to play golf with darkness is very small. Like you're not going out and playing around a golf after work because it's dark after work. So it's absolutely ridiculous to be open at this time of year. But
Stepping on frozen grass kills it?
that's why there's some frost delays.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that would like kill the grass almost or
Yeah,
something.
that's why there's frost delays, because if you walk on frozen grass, every footprint that is there turns black. So even your
I learned
I was
something
going to
new
say
today.
your yard at your house, but you don't. You have a yard? No, you're in a
Yeah, I
condo.
do, yeah.
You have a yard, yeah. If the grass is frozen, you don't walk on it because wherever you walk, it'll turn black.
Fascinating.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to worry about that outside with the artificial turf.
Maybe that's why it was never growing. People just kept because they've tried putting grass there before, and it never worked.
I
And
always
everyone
come
was
across
walking
that.
on it in the winter, and it just killed it all.
Well,
That's
usually I
good to
park
know.
right in
Yeah,
front of it and
it's
just
not-
cut up. Like I don't walk around. And you guys, actually, I kind of have beef with this. You guys were talking about trick or treating. I know this is completely off topic now, but I
I'm
think it was on
fascinated
Two
by
Guys.
your beef.
Well, because you were saying that it was all right for kids to cut across the grass.
I think on
the next
Halloween it
house.
should be okay to cut across the grass for letting kids.
It's bad
cut across the
manners. You don't want to kill the grass.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah, but in my mind, I look at it. It's for the kids. they should be able to do one little walk across to get maximum amount of candy. As a kid, I would have loved to if adults told me walk across. I didn't, but I would have loved if adults said do that. And I think as society, we should try to make the world a better place for our kids, and we should let them walk in between houses.
If the owner allows it, I'm fine with it. But like even my little niece, she was trying to cut across the grass. I'm like, nope, we gotta go down the sidewalk. They take care of their grass. You don't want to wreck it or anything. So
It's about maximizing the amount of candy for kids.
Well, and my kid doesn't like candy.
No?
So who has to eat it?
I mean, you could give me
That's
some of
not,
those.
well, yeah, you could, if you don't want to eat it, I know of a building that you come to every couple Mondays that,
I
would
guess I should have
gladly
brought
eat it.
I should have brought some here then, because there's no way. Like I'm pretty careful in what I put in my body. Except for Halloween night,
You indulged?
I indulged with a bunch of candy that my kid wasn't going to eat. But maybe next month. I think next Monday is holiday, so I'm not here for 2 weeks again. So maybe it goes bad. I don't know.
Halloween candy doesn't go bad. I had a drawer when I was a kid that I threw my Halloween candy in. That could go for a couple months.
Yeah, it might get a little bit stale. Like it might have that little turn. Maybe if there's a little crack in the seal or something. But other than that, you're fine.
All right.
You got it for a little bit. You got your one piece every once in a while.
In 2 weeks, any candy that's left in the house is coming here, so it's not in my house.
Oh my god, you're tempting me here. I went to my parents for dinner yesterday, and they gave me a bunch of candy to take home. And I'm like, this is awful. Like, this is going to be crushed way too quick. And even yesterday, I opened, like, there were just mini candies and stuff. I ate like 12 of them.
Yeah, they're so
Because I go
easy
grab
to eat.
like 2 of them, and like, that's it. I'm just going to have 2. And that's like, well, I could do
Because they're
2
so
more.
small, it's like
and then
a
I'll
bite,
do 2 more.
yeah.
And then I just like look at all the raptors around me. I'm like, I'm just a pig. This is
And then by the end of it,
disgusting.
It's like
But
4
give me more.
full-size
And then you
ones.
feel like shit after. I mean, crap after. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Not like physically. I feel like I shouldn't have eaten that much candy because I shouldn't be eating all this candy.
So you mentally feel bad.
Yeah.
But not. But
Physically, I'm fine.
Look at you. I mean, your metabolism is something that you could probably eat 100 candy bars and not gain a pound.
The thing is, you got to be careful because once you let it slip, once you let the weight slip, it's harder to take it off.
Yeah,
You got to be careful.
you didn't
of that.
even rehab your shoulder, so you're not hitting the gym every day.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, but you let it just heal itself. You didn't actually work on it.
What do you mean I didn't work on it?
Did you go to the gym? Did you do all your exercises every day?
I did for the longest time. I have slacked over the last couple of months, but during the healing process in the sling and all that, I did it consistently.
Consistently
once-
as much as you were supposed to?
Yes. It was up until probably the summer is when my consistency stopped.
It's hard to keep track because it's like they tell you, like, say you got to do it for 6 weeks or something. I had to do physio on my knee. I like sprained my MCL or whatever, and I did it for 6 weeks. And then I came in and she's like, "It's looking great. Yeah, I think this maybe one more week, and then after that you don't have to do it. But I'd recommend it just to keep the health." And I'm like, I did one more week and then I stopped, and I'm like, now I'm noticing it. You got to keep up with it no matter what. Even when it's fully healed, you still gotta keep in mind that it's messed up because, man, it's so easy to injure yourself too, just doing like regular things. So I could see why you don't do it. It's not fun to.
But you're not a
just can't do
gym
it.
guy or a
I
cardio
don't
guy.
enjoy
Like,
it. I like running. I want to get back to running. I like getting downtown, getting to the river valley, and going for a nice 5K run. I like doing that. And it's been too long since I have to, and I'm like trying to commit to like going and getting back to my running because I love a good run. And not too long. I get bored after a while. I can only listen to so much, and then I just get bored. Nice 5K. It's all I want. I just need to get back to doing
You're
that.
in the river valley in Edmonton. It's so beautiful. How can you get bored in there? You can go for 20K, man, because that is so beautiful. How do you get bored of those views?
Well, because I'm not sitting there and looking at the view. I'm running. I'm going past it.
Well, you enjoy. I mean, that's, man, like there's nothing better than a good run in nature, a long
That's
run.
great.
You're there with your mind, your thoughts, the pretty views. I mean, this city doesn't get enough credit. There's a lot of awesome views in this city, a lot of spots.
I don't have to be running. I could walk and enjoy the view, but like running is probably the worst. Like doing cardio exercise, I love everything, like leg day, whatever. Throw anything at me, but like once it comes to cardio, no chance I'm running 5K. I would do anything else than do that. Like it's seriously bad.
Oh my gosh.
See, I always push myself too hard when I run a 5K though. Like I want to beat a time. And if I'm not, and even if I try to be like, I'm going to do a slow 5K today, I'm just going to do a 5K in 30 minutes. I'm going to run in 30 minutes. I end up always finding my pace gets quicker and quicker because I'm like, this is too slow. I need to go faster. And then I run too fast and then I'm tired. And
So I left my house just after 8 a.m. this morning. I just checked my steps. I'm at 12,000 steps today already. So I think
Already?
yeah. So I got my cardio in today already.
I'm
6 miles already today.
I'm probably less than 200 steps today.
Walk from
Like,
your bed to the car.
It was bed, get up, change, grab some stuff, go to my car, drive here, walk into here, walked around a little bit in here, and sat down. Okay, maybe less than 500 steps.
Yeah, I would say right around there too. Usually, like if I wasn't here right now, I would just be finishing up like at the gym or whatever. And also, when you
Do you
bring
go
up,
to the gym in the morning?
I try to.
Good for you.
It's hard. It's hard waking up that early and going, but it's like once you step into the gym, you're like, well, I'm already here. Like now it's time to get to work.
And
It's
then
just
when you're
getting up
done,
and
you
doing
feel
it.
like a
Oh,
million
it's the best.
bucks.
You feel
and
great.
it's
It's the
like,
best.
man,
I
yes.
do love the end of a gym workout
Yeah.
because you feel good.
Yeah.
Now, before you continue with what you were going to say there, this guy in the winter, now he can't do it this winter, unfortunately, would wake up early, do a workout at his gym, and then go and work out at a gym.
I know. I heard about that. That fairy tale,
crazy.
the legend.
It's crazy.
But now I because the personal trainer that I was working with last winter, I didn't have all the equipment in my gym at home that he wanted me to do. So now I just do that double workout at my house. Because
Still doing a double workout?
Yeah.
Doubling up. So how long, like, do you do
That's
like
a commitment.
45 to make it like an hour and a half?
Well, I get
It's
up.
too smaller? Or?
I'm in the gym in my basement somewhere between 4:30 and 5 in the morning. And then I work out until my wife and son get up at 6. So I'm upstairs to help get them organized and out the door. But right now, that's when I'm doing, well, my wife's getting ready. My son's up and I get his breakfast for him. That's when I'm doing my shoulder rehab exercises in the morning during then. And when they go off to school, then I go back downstairs and finish my workout. And in this case, then I came in, had a quick shower and came here. So usually, like tomorrow, I don't have to be anywhere in the morning, so I'll finish working out, call it 8:30, 9 in the morning.
So you start at 4:30 still, or do you
4:30 to 5. I'm always between 4:30 and 5. I'm in the gym in my basement for sure. Every day, 7 days a week.
Now, I've thought about this because, well, my headphones died, I think, one time I was at the gym, but I could not work out without music. Like you were talking about, like, being in nature, that is a lot different. But if you're in like a gym environment or whatever, and they're playing like Lady Gaga or something on their stereo, Lady Gaga's great, but I don't want to, you know what I mean?
That doesn't get you
I don't
pumped
wanna
up
hear
to pump some weights?
Yeah, I gotta listen to, I don't know, whatever floats your boat. But like when the headphones die, it's just like, oh man, the motivation's gone now. Like
Boy.
to try and finish it off.
Well, today was bicep, triceps, and cardio today. And the majority of the time while I was doing that, I didn't listen to music. I listened to Tom Gazzola and the post-game show on EST. That's what I listen to when I work out, is different podcasts. So this morning I listened to that, and I listened to a podcast about my Cowboys and decimated with more injuries. You can't win a football game when you have half your freaking team hurt every game. But anyways, so yeah, sports podcasts is what I listen to typically when I work out. And then if I'm out of my podcast, then I will listen to some music.
And then, yeah, while you're working out, while you're in the intense focus, you just hear about your Cowboys and how much they suck.
You get out the frustration.
Well, they don't really suck because the Cowboys aren't playing because all their players are freaking hurt. So,
yeah, but your quarterback said you guys effing suck.
well, he's effing sucked this
That's
year,
the
but
only
now
reason
he's hurt and he's probably going to be out for a month or so. So you might as well just play Trey Lance now, tank the season, get.
Oh, yeah, you guys have Trey Lance. I completely forgot about that. I don't know what it is. I'm a Manchester United fan, and a couple of years ago they had a great season, and I listened to this one podcast week in and week out. But when they lose, I can't listen to it. I get mad, and I can't listen to that pod. And it's opposite. Like people generally go and find, like you listen to the Cowboys, but people with Oilers and stuff, it almost gets more tune in. I can't when it comes to my teams. I just get angry. I just get frustrated, and it's like I don't want to listen to it. And I haven't thrown on that Manchester United pod in probably a year and a half.
Do you watch all their games though?
I try to. I don't have subscriptions for it, so I got to do the streaming. And then there are like soccer can be like there's 5 o'clock games. I am not waking up to watch Manchester United at 5 in the morning.
I could just turn them on my TV while I'm working out, but
You can send me texts. I'll get you how to stream it in a way. You can just send me texts and updates.
Yeah, one of the 50,000 streaming platforms that'll have all the sports on it. You guys were talking about that, and it's like the streaming aspect of it, I think, is great. Where it's easier to access. You could get it on your phone. You could get it really anywhere. You might need a Wi-Fi connection, sure. But like if you need Prime and then you need Rumble and then you need all these other Netflix.
What needs Rumble?
Stuff.
What's on Rumble?
what is Rumble? I never
Power
heard of it.
Slap.
Oh,
Rumble's like, who made that? That's the Nelk Boys, I think. They made their own thing because they're banned on YouTube or something like that. And then now it's the next YouTube, quote unquote.
Yeah, it won't be the next YouTube. I'll tell you that right now.
Nothing will be YouTube.
No, we're like everyone cut cable because they were tired of cable, but now you're in a new world where you need all these streaming services. And for a while, it was you could pick what streaming services you want based on what TV shows you like.
Right.
But now it's if sports gets in on this, you're going to need all the streaming services. That's where this is potentially heading, where Disney Plus is ABC and ESPN. So those rights maybe one day just go to Disney Plus, and then you're going to have. Well, actually, no, in Canada it's a little different because we have our own rights up here. But it's. Netflix has got WWE coming, if not already there. I don't think it's there yet.
And then the
Netflix is
Jake
getting
Paul, Mike Tyson
WWE,
fight.
which is happening very soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were talking about the 15th, I think it is.
something like that.
It's I think next Friday or Saturday.
If
which
it's
I'm going to
on
lose a bet
Saturday-
if it happens. Prime has NHL. We're lucky
And
with
one
NFL right now.
championship.
Apple has MLS. Apple also has some MLB. But like, there's going to be a point one day where all these outlets are going to go to the streaming platforms. And you're going to need all of them. And we're going to have gone away
We're
from
gonna be
cable.
broke.
There's going to have to. Well, they're trying to do. There's some people in the States trying to do it. I think it's Fox with ESPN and stuff. They're trying to build a massive sports streaming platform.
And then
that
it's all the same
combines all
as-
their
Wow.
stuff into it.
That would be perfect.
But now there's lawsuits happening because the other people aren't like. So we'll see if that fully comes out. But you're getting to a point where that's going to have to be a thing where it's like, okay, well, I will now want my sports streaming package. I just want sports of this, and this. Can you not just put them into one service that I could pay for?
Exactly.
But we've
Sounds like
we've-
cable.
That's exactly it. We've gone. We're
But
back
then you
to
still
cable.
can't.
Without the cable, you
watch
unplug it.
all the games. But okay, so tonight's Oilers game.
It's Amazon Prime only.
Okay, so it's not on Sportsnet.
It's not on Sportsnet.
If you have center ice, do you get it?
I don't think so.
So Amazon Prime or
I-
nothing.
Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong with Center Ice. It's been years since I paid for Center Ice. Center Ice is supposed to get you the regional games. I don't think it's supposed to get you national games. National games, you're supposed to watch on the national broadcasters.
Okay.
Center Ice is so okay if you're an Oiler fan, and you don't even get your local team. If you're an Oiler fan living in Ontario, it gets you the Oilers regional games,
Okay.
but not national games. If you're a Canucks fan in the city of Edmonton, you can get your Canucks games that aren't national games. I think that's how it's supposed to work. Tonight is a national broadcast because it's on Amazon Prime, so it'd be blacked out on Center Ice, and because you'd have to have Amazon Prime to watch it because it's a national game. If I'm not
So do they
Correct.
have their own people like play-by-play guys and stuff like that?
Yes. Well, and then they've hired John Forsland is the guy. I can't remember who he's with. Is it Shane? It might be Shane Knighty. Andy Petrillo's in the studio, so they've used people that are known.
Yeah.
I think they use a Sportsnet crew behind the scenes, like to produce it and stuff. I think, but yeah, they have like its own look, its own broadcasters.
Well,
And
actually,
Will liked it today. I know some other people have had their issues.
I have Amazon Prime, so it is an early game. I might watch a period of it and check it out.
I like their score bug. They got a really nice, like, their
they?
graphics are really cool on Amazon. So it's something different. Like, there's so many different bugs nowadays. What is it? This FanDuel Sports Network that previously was Bally Sports, and then Sportsnet. Like, there's a lot of them. But honestly, I'd put that Amazon Prime one probably in like the top 2 or 3.
Tonight will be my first exposure to Amazon Prime for the game.
It was
I
definitely
haven't
different.
watched any of them.
So you have Amazon Prime, or you're going to a bar that's
No, my parents have it.
your parents'
the
house. So you're
family
going to
uses
your
it.
parents' house.
Well, it's online. You could just put it on your TV.
See, I'm not smart enough to know how to
I've
do
got
any of
this.
that
I've got
stuff.
the Google Chrome. I got it on. Do I have Amazon on here? No, I don't think I have Amazon Oh yeah, I have Prime Video. I can watch it on my
Streamcast?
phone. So actually, yeah, the boys. I'm gonna have to get the boys to watch it tonight somehow. Or Hernan's here. Hopefully he has Prime. Otherwise, he's not gonna be able to watch the game.
boy.
Yeah, but they haven't cracked down on passwords yet. So I have on my family's account, my parents' account. The family all uses it.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't know. Netflix tried doing that, and then they got
it's
a bunch
working.
of backlash, right?
Nah, it is, but they kept going and it's actually working. Netflix, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw this last week. They have seen an increase in accounts.
Well, no, duh. Like now everyone, your 4 friends who are using the same account now have to start paying for their own, even though you have 4 different profiles.
So, but while people are upset about it, they're gaining more accounts out of it. So they're getting more money out of it.
Yeah, you can
They
be
don't care.
Yeah, you can be upset about it, but if you're going to still pay for it and be upset, I mean, what do they care? They still got your money.
Well, it's like Disney Plus now. It's like twice the price, and I'm just like, okay, well, like that kind of sucks, and still paying for it or whatever, right? Well, it's like I think now the premium without ads, you got to pay for without ads. It's just gonna be in 5 years, even just in the window of the next 5 years, it's all gonna be transferred online. I wonder how many things are gonna be still on cable, like news.
Hey, the only thing keeping cable going is sports.
Really?
News is not there anymore. It is sports. Sports is the thing keeping cable still alive because people want the immediacy of sports. They want it right now. And there still is going to be the challenges of sports. One being connected social media while watching a game. Whereas if the news is like, okay, it's election night tomorrow. If
People
you're
will be
watching
watching,
streaming and it's a minute behind, okay, you don't get the call of Kentucky for a minute. No one cares. It's not that big. If you watch the Oilers game tonight and you see the Oilers post that they scored and a minute later you see the Oilers score, that's going to piss you off. Mm-hmm. And that's this. So it's can you bring that? I forgot what the official word is, but the time of when you're buffer time almost. I know it's a lag time or something.
Yeah,
can you bring
delay?
it closer to cable? Because cable's not that long. Streaming's longer. Even us, like when we start streaming our YouTube, I think ours is 20 seconds.
Yeah. Some days it's shorter. Some days, yeah.
But so from the moment we click stream on our program here to YouTube's about 20 seconds, let's say on average. That's pretty good. But if you're getting closer to 40, 50 seconds, and then the Oilers or somebody at an Oiler game tweets something, well, now you're like, well, this is pissing me off. I can't be on Twitter. And for a lot of people nowadays, they want to be on Twitter or Reddit or something while they're watching. So can you shorten that down? But until that gets fully figured out, people want cable. Like I haven't cut cable because of sports. If all of a sudden if I didn't have any use for TSN or sports, then I'd probably sit there, look at my money, and go, "You want to know something? I don't need this."
My wife and I are in that whole discussion right now. We're contemplating getting rid of cable, but like if we could watch the 2 or 3 TV shows that we actually watch that are on cable, find a way to do that, and find a way to watch the sports that I want to watch, we would get rid of it in a heartbeat. But exactly how you do that, I don't really know. I was asking about you that in the summer because I thought you'd have all the answers being a young guy, and you said ask Awanik.
Well, there are ways.
Yeah.
There are ways to do all of that aren't
legal. I
don't know if it's not. I don't think it's illegal to do it, like to purchase it. It's illegal for those people to provide said service. That's why they're a little difficult to find. They're called IPTVs is the biggest thing. Never tweet out IPTV. I've brought this up once on the Hangout. If you tweet IPTV, like immediately, I think that day, like 9 replies instantly of bots that try to offer you their IPTV. But like there's an IPTV that I didn't use this ever before. It never happened in my office. And you get TV from around the world, United Kingdom, US,
so cool.
Canada, Iceland, like you get it all.
Yeah.
You get video on demand. You get
all the sports. I've heard about this. A friend of mine,
I've never done it.
Has been telling me
Ever.
He's explained it to me, and I am not very technically savvy. So I'm gonna get him to come over and show it to my wife and show my wife. But he showed it to me on his phone. Like you're right, you can watch news from Dallas, you could watch news from Atlanta, you could watch news
every
from Germany,
CBS, NBC,
you could watch
ABC,
it
Fox,
all over the world. And the same, he said, you can get every sports game, you can get
all pay-per-views.
And all like TV shows. I mean, he showed me everything on his phone, and I'm like, first thing on my wife's mouth when I told her about it, because it's only like $250 a year for all of this. And I'm like, oh, that saves a lot of money. The first thing in my wife's mouth is, and it's probably the right answer is this legal?
And I've actually never actually double checked it. Like when back in the day when people stole satellite dishes, like had the illegal satellite dish, I think that was illegal to have. Like I don't think it was legal to have a broken satellite dish or whatever they're called. I don't think it's illegal to have an IPTV. I think it's illegal to stream IT, like to provide the IPTV. So I think as a consumer, you're in the clear a little bit if you know what you're doing.
These guys are advertising it on how I even thought to ask him about it. I saw him posting about it on his social media. So he's not hiding it. I don't know. But the other part that's so cool about it is it's a stick that you put in your TV.
Well, there's many ways of doing it. There's some that are sticks.
Yeah.
There's Android boxes. There's all sorts of different ways to go about this.
Well,
This
sort of Roku.
stick is
or I guess
awesome
that's
because
normal.
you go traveling and you take the stick and you put it in your hotel room TV and you have the same thing so long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. I'm like, holy.
Very tempting.
Yeah,
Like if I didn't live with my parents and they weren't paying my cable, I wouldn't be watching cable ever. I would probably have something around that sense or
That or you just get
Alternatives.
Sportsnet Plus or whatever.
yeah.
You'd only get what you would need because like you don't need everything else. Like I have a quite like one of the most basic cable packages you can get. I literally just get the cable with sports. I don't pay for any extra packages because I don't want anything else. I don't need all the other channels. I just want my sports, and I'll take the regular TV that you're also giving me because I do like watching my news and stuff like that. So that's
You don't want to
I'm
watch
good.
a French soap opera?
I'm good. I'm good.
and you're not married. So my wife is so excited because the Holiday Baking Championship starts tonight and it's on cable. So that's one of the questions that I need to find out if we would actually consider doing this is how can my wife watch the Holiday Baking Championship and the Christmas Cookie Baking Challenge? She
only
needs to
thing
watch that stuff.
The only thing I never figured out because I can't do it much is a PVR.
I'm into it too, actually.
I love good cooking show. PVRing it. I don't know how that works.
You can't PVR right now. They're working on
They are
PVRing,
working on those things. Jeez, of course
but
they are.
it's not happening yet.
There are, I think, it depends because honestly, there's so many different ways of going about this. There are ways to, I think, potentially do it. Now, for someone like, because I'm fascinated by how the world has changed. I remember when Piracy came in with music, with LimeWire and stuff, and Kazam, and I don't know how many. Was it Kazam? Yeah, it was Kazam. And it was the downloading of music illegally. Napster was the start of that. And to nowadays, like I'm a Spotify premium user. I spend money each month to get my music. So I don't have to pay for commercials, but I don't download it anymore. Like I had a massive library of music. So many people out there had a massive library of music that they download. But then it became so easy to pay for just, I can get whatever music I want, build whatever playlist I want. It's easy. This is simple. I can just pull it up. I can pull it up on multiple devices. I'm happy. But there's going to be a point because Spotify keeps raising their prices a little bit where people are going to go back to, screw this. I'm just going to download my music again. And I'm wondering when's that date going to happen for TV too? Because you could still torrent anything that you need. Some people in this room do that. But it's one of those, at what point do people like, what point are the providers of all this content, the Netflixes, the Amazon Primes of the world, the Spotify, Apple Musics of the world, going to push consumers far enough again where they're going to go back to piracy? That is a line I'm very fascinated to see because as they keep always YouTube Premium, whatever, keep raising their prices. There's going to be a point that those people are going to go back. I'm going back to this. It was a good price because of convenience. I will give you money. I'll stop piracy. That's why it happened.
Yeah.
And now there's going to be a point of I'm not spending this much. I'm going to go back to the way I used to do it, which is I could find a way to do this without you making any money.
That's also it. But then people are lazy. So most people like myself, I would honestly rather if they raise, say, Spotify from $13 to $16, I'd be like, okay, whatever.
what's
I don't know
$3?
what
I got to figure out what my
threshold
number
is
is though for
Yeah.
Spotify.
But what if it
$20.
was $30? What if it goes from 13 to 30?
Oh, if it went that high of a spike, like immediately, I would probably have to change to something else. Like, I mean, with Amazon, you get the Apple or Amazon Music for free, I guess, if you're paying for Prime because it's dirt cheap there. But like, I like seeing the nice screen there. They got the nice layout. Like, if you pop up on your phone a certain song, they might have a cool like graphic for it as well. They get the Spotify Wrapped. You could share it with your friends, listen together. Say you're playing. I play a lot of games, so if you're on Xbox or something, you can connect that and listen to the same song with your friend who's over wherever. Like, yeah. So there are different things besides just the music that I like to pay for, and I like seeing the Wrapped. I'm like, oh, I listened to Drake was in my top 5 this year. Again, every year. Every year.
$12.69 a month Canadian is Spotify Premium. I think when I first got it, I got it at $9.99. So it hasn't gone up too much.
Yeah,
like it's
that's
fine.
okay.
But it's like as they keep raising the price, though, I start sitting there and I'm going, what is my line? I think 20 is my line. I think I'm willing to pay $20 a month for Spotify Premium. But after that, I think I'm good. I'll go to the free one where I'll have to listen to ads / I will just slowly find my own music moving forward in my own way.
It was fun. Like my dad would always, get it online. There was the Napsters and stuff like that. And like first iPod I had, I'm like, Dad, you need to get this song on it. And I see him like download it. He looked like he was like a hacker or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just that extra step like that. I mean, everybody did it. You don't want to pay, I don't know, 99 cents for every single song on your iTunes. So you get 5,000 songs for, I don't know, $2 online or something. Cool. That's awesome for me. And what was the other thing? Yeah, all the lines are like moving up. Even Xbox has you could pay, now it's $25 a month. It was 17 like 3 months ago, but they spiked it up by, I don't know, 40% or whatever it was. You get to play online, and you get a bunch of quote unquote free games instead of buying the license for the game online. Like the new Call of Duty, $90. So you get all these group of games, but they can take it away technically every time.
I don't like that with video games where it's harder to find physical copies of video games.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Well,
I want a hard copy.
Yeah. Well, even the new computers, like they're all online. They used to have disk drives. I love that. You would get the physical disc, you'd have it, you'd own the game. But now because it's online, if you're buying the online version of the game, you don't own the game. You own the license to the game, and they can technically revoke it anytime.
Yeah,
I don't know how
and
much
it's also
that
like
works,
if I had a PS5, somebody will have to correct me on how this would work. Let's say I bought the new NHL game, and I was going to go to Zach's house and you had a PS5, but you didn't have the new NHL game. How could I bring? Like, I can't bring. I only had a digital copy of the game, I couldn't play it at your house.
You could. You would have to
log in and
download it for probably. I remember the first game that this happened with was GTA 5 when it first came out. I was playing it at like 10 years old or something. It was great. It was great. Great time to grow up. But that was the first game that you had to have the physical disc along with installing it to the actual console itself. Before, you would just plug and play. Like you could just open the game. Like you just open the game. Brand new Call of Duty, Black Ops 1 or something. Okay, we playing this right now. We don't have to wait for it to download and then play it. So all the new games, even with the physical discs in the last 5 years, you would have to download it to that console. So if you had the new NHL game on disc, it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let's play a game. We got to go in an hour. We got to play this game. No, you got to wait 45 minutes for it to download no matter what.
I grew up on Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. I thought that was a good time to be alive, but obviously not.
It's getting better. It's getting better.
Wow.
Donkey Kong is a great game.
It's still out there. You can still play it.
They keep pumping out all types of those type of games. Jen says the Xbox Game Pass is worth it.
It is. It is. They keep adding more games and stuff. You could play it on your computer really anywhere. There's like cloud play as well, so you don't have to download the game, but there's different buffer rates and stuff like that. More susceptible to crashing. Man, I'm a nerd.
Yes, you are. It's like I'm listening to you speak Chinese right now. I have no idea what you're talking about.
The least techiest guy probably.
Yeah, no kidding. And non-gamer.
Bronco Nick says Spotify Premium going up to $17.99 right away. No, because I'm looking at something from October, like a month ago, and it says individuals going up to $12.69. Yeah, this is October from a month ago, and it's Duo is going to $17.89. So basically the $17.99.
I'd rather just pay for one and share the same profile. That's what my buddy and his family did. They paid $10 for Spotify or whatever.
But you can only play at one time.
Oh,
Spotify family is like, right. I could log in on my laptop and my phone at the exact same time, but I could only play one song. But I could control it from multiple devices, the same song though. That's where you need the multiple accounts for everyone else to use it. And that's where it's like,
Damn tech.
yeah, it's the world that we're going to slowly be going into. This all started with talking about Amazon Prime. By the way, with that, how I did look up the Netflix. I was wrong on the date. This was from earlier this year. But they saw a subscriber surge after crackdown on sharing. They saw almost as much as 8 million new subs.
Holy.
Added. So while we sit there and say, it's not great, it worked for Netflix. People didn't want to get rid of Netflix.
So Netflix has a few more subs than Edmonton Sports Talk.
Yeah, just a couple more.
Just a couple more.
Just a little bit.
In July, their Q2 profits surged 44%. Wow. To 2.15 billion. So Netflix actually made the right move on that one when you look at it. So
Now the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight is going to just
when was that?
skyrocket.
And you're
the 15th.
watching it.
And I'll have to watch it. I said before I didn't want to, but the hype around it is just too much. And it's just too crazy to me to think that Jake Paul was in his diapers when Mike Tyson first became heavyweight champ at 19 years old, the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing. Just like, it's just silly. It's gonna be a time. I don't even know what other fights are on the card. I don't even know.
Does it matter?
What promotion
No.
it is. I don't know if
It all
it's through
sucks.
Jake Paul's.
I'm going to watch the hell out of
Boxing
it, though.
sucks.
You're
like-
going to watch it too?
I'm sucker for these type of spectacles.
Man,
they
like-
drag me in so hard. This is the worst. This is awful. This is Mike Tyson going to beat Jake Paul.
Jake Paul beats Tyson.
Not a chance, dude. Not a chance.
Man, I was talking to Zach about this earlier. I was a big Mike Tyson fan when he was destroying everybody in his early days. He's 60-something years old.
And he's ripped.
Yeah. He is.
Mike Tyson's plus 225 on CoolBet. Oh, well, the draw is plus 1,000. The only reason Mike Tyson loses this is if he chooses to lose it.
How many rounds?
Why would
is
he-
it
If
then?
this is rigged, that's the only way Jake Paul is going to win this. Because, did you see how ripped Mike Tyson is?
I saw some
Did you see
training
Jake
video
Paul, though?
of him the other day. Yeah,
I don't care about Jake. Jake Paul's never fought an actual boxer.
Yeah, I know. He's fought all old, washed up,
That's
retired
Mike Tyson
athletes, and
right
Mike
now.
Tyson's the next one.
Right now at 60-some years old. Like,
Really?
you're not, like, he's still got power in that punch.
Oh, he
Like,
does, yeah.
Mike Tyson can't go against top boxers right now.
No.
But against the guy that doesn't know what he's doing fully in terms of the real box, like, he's not a top I think it was fought one professional boxer.
Who hasn't fought in 5 years and he
And what
tried
happened?
doing something else, career change. I think he knocked him out or something. I don't
Who
know.
got knocked out?
The boxer knocked
The
Paul out?
boxer got knocked out by Paul. He was an
Really?
amateur boxer. I think he was like
okay.
6-1 or something. He boxed a little bit, but that wasn't his immediate profession any longer. It was something that left him before. So now washed up boxer, YouTuber. I don't know who else he fought. Somebody that is not an actual boxer. And then Mike Tyson, he's 62. He hasn't fought since 2005. Washed up. There's no other way to. The last time he fought, I was a year old.
Seriously?
Really?
Yeah,
Was that long?
2005.
Did you enjoy that fight? You don't remember it, eh?
Nah, I don't know.
Mike-
I'd kind of.
Jake Paul will not be able to handle Mike Tyson punches. Mike Tyson will be able to withstand a Jake Paul punch. That's going to be the difference in this.
Well, so I'm really good friends with Jelena Mrjenovic.
Yep.
And so I've always said to her, like, that I would fight her. 'Cause, I mean, she's small, she's tiny compared to me and whatnot. And I said, like,
get
there's
whooped.
no way you could beat me. If you and I fought, there's no way that you
She'd
could
destroy
beat me.
you, Murray.
Oh yeah.
That's what she told me. So she explained this to me. And this is where I go with Mike Tyson. She knows how to punch.
Yeah.
She knows how to take a punch. She knows where to punch. You know, she just knows. And she said, she basically told me that I would pick you apart and absolutely murder you very fast. And I'm thinking to myself, but look how small you are. Like, how much could a punch from you actually hurt? But I trained to know how to punch. Mike Tyson is very well trained in knowing how to punch, and Jake Paul is clearly not. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Mike Tyson cannot lose that fight if he's actually trying and it's not rigged.
That's the only fear I have. Which also then is like, I feel like if Jake Paul wins and I come here and be like, oh, see, it's rigged. Zach's gonna be like, well, like he has no like Jake Paul's never gonna actually win the fight. No one's going to believe it. If he wins, the immediate reaction is going to be this was rigged.
And even
Yeah.
if he knocks him out, it's going to be like, oh, great, you knocked out a retired boxer.
He's 60-something years old. Yeah. like-
Yeah, it is Mike Tyson. Kate. So Jake Paul's track record, his first fight in January 2020, Ali Eason Gibb. Nobody knows who he is. Nate Robinson, the former NBA player,
two-time slam dunk contest winner.
who is not a boxer.
Shouldn't have won a slam
Knocked
dunk.
him out.
Those are some of the worst slam dunk contests I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in 2021 fought a fat Ben Askren, who is a wrestler. This is a guy who got knocked out the fastest in a UFC fight as well. So
Oh boy.
he got the flying knee from Jorge 5 seconds in, right off the hop. But he showed up overweight to the fight. Like you could tell he wasn't it. He was in it for the money. So then he fought Tyrone Woodley twice, who I think he was the champ in the UFC as well. He's not the greatest striker. He's not a boxer.
He's also not a boxer. Yeah,
He's
that's
not
the
a
big
boxer.
thing here.
So won against him twice, and then fought Anderson Silva, which he came off a huge injury. He was at the tail end of his career. He was kind of sputtering out, losing all his gas. 40 years old or something like that. So not in his prime, but Anderson Silva. That's probably
What
one of the
happened in
most
that fight?
respectable win. He won UD8. Does that mean unanimous decision 8th round or something? He won.
Jake Paul beat Anderson, but Anderson Silva was not a boxer.
That's
either.
the thing, he
was
wasn't even a
he's an
boxer.
MMA guy.
And then he lost against an actual boxer in Tommy Fury. So that was the one loss he has so far. He's 9-1, Jake Paul, and then fought and won against Nate Diaz. Last 2 fights, Andre August won first round KO,
He
and
hasn't
then
fought
Ryan
Butterbean,
Borland.
eh? He hasn't fought
no.
Butterbean. I like to see
I know,
him
get
fight
him-
Butterbean.
Rest in peace, Butterbean.
Oh, is he?
I think he's passed away. Let me check that
Hmm.
now because I mean he is Butterbean.
If
He's a
this
legend.
fight takes place, I lose a bet.
Oh,
That's
he's
all
still
I know.
alive. He's still kicking.
I made a bet with somebody from a buddy. Because when the last fight got canceled, I was like, it's never going to happen. And then we bet that it was going to happen. And I'm trying to remember what the bet is.
Well, I hope it happens, and I hope it's
Do you?
real.
Oh, well, that's like,
I hope it's
if it's
real.
going to happen, it better be real.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, I'm going to be furious about all of this. Yeah, I'm going to have to look later. But I think like Chris in the Nasty Chat goes, Jake Paul will smash Tyson, mark my words.
Why does he think that though?
But
I'm
it's
curious.
like if it happens, like no one's gonna believe it. He also says all UFC fighters are boxers. No, there's a different skill to it.
Yeah.
And we saw it with Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather toyed with McGregor. Floyd Mayweather's a showman, and he let that fight go on longer
Yeah.
than he needed to. And then when he needed to end it, he ended it. Floyd Mayweather is not a knockout artist. Floyd Mayweather does not knock out fighters. In his record of run, he didn't knock people out. He knocked out Conor McGregor. Because Conor McGregor was not a boxer. Conor McGregor was MMA. And there is a different skill set to those two. Yeah, it could be similar, but they're different.
And he is a great boxer within the sport, but if you take away his kicks as well, which open up the
you're saying
punches.
McGregor?
Yeah.
Oh, McGregor. Yeah. You could see that he had the flash and everything like that. He knows what he's doing on the feet boxing, but overall, UFC fighters are not boxers.
They're not trained to be in the boxing ring. They're trained to fight within an octagon, which is a different style of fighting.
There's so much more to it. Like you said, the kicks, the takedowns, fighting on the ground. Like boxers don't fight on the ground.
Yeah, there was only one
Yeah.
knockout here at UFC Fight Night
Which
Edmonton.
I do want to get to right away here. We will get to the EST keyword shortly here. Portions of this hour brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehighproductmarketing.com. Shop EST is live at Edmonton Sports Talk for one more week. If you want any EST merch, head there, because if you don't get anything this week, you won't be able to buy any merch for the rest of 2024. Again, everything thanks to the Hive Product Marketing. Matt Awanek, Murray McCourt, Zach to come with you here. You were at UFC here in town, Fight Night, which was the highest grossing fight night in UFC history, if I'm not mistaken.
In North American UFC history,
In
which
North-
is still fantastic.
So people showed up. How was it for you? You're a big fan of MMA, but you spent Friday doing some things, and you were at it on Saturday. How was the experience for you?
Yeah, so it was fantastic. It started off with Me taking the day off here to go to the weigh-ins, experience that. Went to the Q&A with Daniel Cormier, 2-division champ, one of the greatest of all times, UFC Hall of Famer for sure. And Paul Felder was also there, who's just a UFC legend, the Iron Dragon. Shout out to him. But it was great just experiencing that and seeing how invested people here in Canada are in the MMA scene. There's local scenes, Unified, and a couple others that I'm definitely forgetting the name of, but to have that much of a showing for Q&A, even Daniel Cormier was standing there on stage day before the fights even, just to have a couple questions asked for him. And he was like, I've never seen this many people at a Q&A before. It was packed. It was Hall F of the Expo Center. They had chairs all the way. There was hundreds, maybe a couple... I don't know how many people, but 1,000. Like, they packed that room pretty well, and it was fun. The vibes were great. So the day of the fights, heading in there was a lot of people going. You could tell that everyone was getting riled up and stuff like that. And when you hear the announcement of those first fights, it is nothing. It's something like I've never experienced before.
Michael Buffer was there.
Great. Buffer was there, yeah.
I didn't realize that. And Dana White was in town.
Yeah, I saw him. He was on stage for the Q&A as well. But,
who was Dana White?
Yeah, he was there just standing around and stuff. They did their ceremonial weigh-ins after the Q&As, but like Dana, you could see him kind of. I was trying to find the first bald dude with the big head, and I was like,
"Oh, there he is."
Oh, is that Dana? Oh wait, no. Oh, he's over there, and I had finally see him. But it was really good to see it like through the cage. It's such a different experience because. When it's on the video on TV, you feel like you're in the cage, but then you see this entire atmosphere and they look so tiny, which is, well, I mean, of course you're standing farther away, but it's just like they're in there. It's happening. Everyone's locked in.
Have you ever seen MMA before in person? Like not UFC, but like MMA even in general?
No MMA, no boxing or anything. Well, I guess no like WWE. I guess you could count that, but I've never seen anything like that. And I must say it was really cool to just hear Bruce's voice and the way that people got into the fights. Like it could be, there were a lot of Canadians on the card. I think there are 8 people either representing Canada or born somewhere in Canada like that, where they're fighting on the card. They did that on purpose, of course. But even for the international fighters, like, I don't know, when Rose was fighting, she's American. She was fighting an American, and like the Rose chants were there, Olays were there. The chants were different, but I must say they were like, Mike Malott is a Canadian fighter who won on the card. His nickname's like Proper, but when they're chanting his name, they just said, "Let's go, Mike. Let's go, Mike." Like, "Let's go, Oilers." Got to come up with something more like better than that. Just call him Proper. Like proper. I don't know.
No, you can't do the name like that because that's like a goalie thing. You're trying to jinx them at that point.
How long was the entire event? Like
it started at 3.
Yeah, it started at 3. First fight introductions were kind of at 3:00, but yeah, I got there at like 2:30 and they ended maybe. Let me think. Last fight around 9:15, 9:30.
That's a good shift.
Because there's the main event of fight night even still, but there's still prelims.
Yeah, so it was the preliminary card first, which, I mean, just the lower tier fighters. And then there's kind of an intermission in between the prelims and then the actual main card where they just played some videos or whatever like that. But that was about it. There's not much of a difference like how they go about doing things. They do have fighter interviews in the main cards, but on the prelims they're only selected. But that's really the only difference besides that and actual talent.
It was sold out?
It was sold out. There was
At
16,500. Yeah. Some of the seats you couldn't sit in because they had their big like TVs in the corner or whatever, and there was just blind spots. Mm-hmm. I must say, I feel bad for the people in the upper bowl because under the scoreboard at Rogers Place, they had to attach the lighting system to light the octagon and to have the cameras sprawled out with like the crane coming in so they could do the swoop or whatever. It just I could only imagine it blinded people from the upper bowl. So if there was anyone in those nosebleeds, I don't know how it actually was. But I'm sorry that you had to sit up there because you were getting it blocked.
They were watching it on the big screen anyways. You can't see anything from that far up of any consequence. You're watching on the
You need the
Jumbotron.
binoculars almost.
Yeah. Like, where were you sitting?
I was row 16, lower bowl. So I was very close actually. Like I think that's
that was a
good
media
distance.
spot?
No, I bought actual tickets.
Oh, so you could have sat closer.
I could have sat like where Tony Gazzola was, Octagon side, and I call him Tony because on his credential they said Tony Gazzola, but I could have sat Octagon side, but I previously had bought tickets with my friends
Okay.
and would have rather experienced it with them in that way.
Well, when you said yesterday that you didn't sit, it would have been cool to see where Tom was. I thought maybe because sometimes what they'll do is like they'd have a press area for certain press, and then other press there's an auxiliary area. And I thought maybe you were separated from Tommy. And I was like, why did they put you in a different spot than him? But you went with tickets. Okay, that makes more sense.
And there wasn't much press really, honestly. There, I saw Tommy. There was Aaron Braunstetter there as well, and then I think a couple like Sportsnet people. There was like at least half of the chairs, if not more, were in the media area was empty, and then. That was on like the east side
My
or
spot was
something.
empty. I accidentally applied for credentials. I didn't mean to. And I got approved.
You
No,
should've
when I
let
was doing
them
the
know.
site, it was like one button and I boxed and clicked it. Usually it's a link to something, and then it went, you got applied for this. It's
Oh,
like,
I know what you mean.
And I
Yeah,
tried
yeah, on that-
undoing it,
yeah.
and they wouldn't let me. And then I got an email saying you're approved. And I'm like,
Oh,
cool.
I could have went as I wanted. No, but on the other side there, Evander Kane was there. Of course, he was becoming best friends with Dana White there, and then a couple people from the upcoming rodeo. I think this weekend or on the 9th of November. I forget the actual name of the rodeo event held here at Rogers
Coming up?
Place. Yeah,
PBR.
Oh, geez. PBR is going to be here. There was a bunch of people in cowboy hats and stuff too enjoying it, and on the floor seats were crazy because now there's more space. There's no ice or anything, so sitting on the floor. I think those tickets are like $4,000 or something. They're crazy like that. Crazy expensive to get like actual floor seats. And I think a lot of those people might have been, I don't know, family members of the fighters or whatnot, because UFC gives those out. But there's some people like getting pretty riled up. And I think, I don't know, it was a good time overall, but there might have been more fights between the fans than at a regular like game, even in the Battle of Alberta or something, because I don't know. You see somebody get knocked out.
Juices
or
are
something.
flowing. They're watching some fighting, and the juices get flowing, and you want, I can take this person on, then get into with someone next to you, and then boom, the fights happen.
Well, you think about that too. If it starts at 3 o'clock, if people are there for
a
that
long
full
time.
shift, how many beers were people consuming? So
Well, yeah, they cut it off like the third last fight right before it, and they
That makes
a
sense.
bunch of people were in line, and they were like, "Oh no more beers." So they would just get out of line and stuff like that. But the lineups were actually great because now there's no strict intermission. You don't wait for the whistle or whatever, and then you head up the stairs during a regular Oilers game or whatnot. It's really, there's one fight you could go get popcorn. Cool. There's nobody in line because there are so many of those breaks, because there's like 5 or 10 minutes or so in between each fight. So you could go to the bathroom, come back down, whatever. Between rounds, you only have a minute. There's no point in leaving, but there was a lot of spaces for fans to get up, go in line, which there was none, get your food and come back down. So that was also great. That was great.
but you just think about that much testosterone in a building, that much alcohol consumed, and that's a bad mix.
Well, yeah, there was like, I don't know. I was sitting beside somebody who was very nice, but like kept asking me a lot of questions, and I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't like trying to talk to her, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." And then I just keep watching the fights. My buddies, we're on like the edge seats, so it was her and like her boyfriend or whatever, and I was the third seat in, and my friends were the 2 seats beside me. They got up and went, my friends, so I like shifted over. So then they had to sit beside her. Like I was just like, okay, I'm gonna scooch over a little bit. And then it was really annoying though. The one thing, you know how during a hockey game they have the people who sit at the top of the stairs, and they're like, okay, no, you got to wait until the play is finished.
They kind of
Wait for
stopped
the
doing that at
whistle.
Rogers, though.
It sucks. Like, why? I don't want you walking in front of me, so I have to look at the screen. But that happened at least 6 times. Somebody walked across
During the fight?
During the fight, and it was like the middle of the second round. I'm like, what if there was a knockout there? I don't get mad, but I would have been like, bro, you couldn't have waited until the end of the round. It's only 5 minutes. Then you could run down the stairs. It's more guaranteed breaks in hockey. Sometimes you could go 15 minutes without a whistle, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, the end of the round is coming. There's a time. Once that's
Yeah.
over, you can go. You know exactly. The hockey, it could be in theory, you can go an entire period without a whistle.
Wait.
In theory.
And sometimes those lines, though, but face-offs happen quick in hockey sometimes too. So they let everyone go down, but then the play's already started, and those people are still walking in front of you because So there's not a winning solution to that.
Nope.
I don't think.
No, but it's at least in UFC there'd be an easier one. I just would think. But I'm glad you had a good time with it though.
Mm-hmm.
It was enjoyed it. Have you ever gone to like a boxing or anything? Like, I'm assuming you've seen Jelena.
And when Mark Pavlich was running I can't remember what it was called when it was in Edmonton. He was running a mixed martial arts.
Yeah, you're talking about that. I need.
So I went to
Mark
to
Pavlich.
several
That
of
name
those,
brings me back.
So I had some buddies that were fighting in it and whatnot, and I went to like Ryan Jimmo that went on to the UFC, and then rest in peace Ryan Jimmo because he's passed away now. But went and watched him fight a few times and
Maximum Fighting Championship, MFC.
Fighting, yeah, that's exactly what it was.
That's what it was.
So several of those, and when you were talking about like those floor seats, so I've always watched those. Well, I don't think there was any option, but being on the floor. Because it was at the River Cree, and boy, like you had to watch most of it on the TV still. Yeah. I mean, if they were standing, you were fine, but once it went down to the ground, you couldn't really see what was going on, so you had to watch it. So I didn't love those. Where you said you were sitting, you probably watched more of the people than you watched the screen.
Because, for the most part,
because you were above it and could see down. Now, even still, though, when they were on the ground, you were still probably watching it on the screen a little bit so you could really see the intricacies of what they were doing, right?
That's the hard part of it. When you're that far away, you can't really see like, oh, he's grabbing his wrist now. Right. Oh, is that how he got up? Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Wow, what an escape. But when they're standing and striking, it was really easy to actually watch from inside the octagon. But I found sometimes they would throw a punch and exactly where I was sitting, depending on the height of the fighter, I think it was like more of like the 6 foot type. If it was like a 5'4" person, they're short enough that I could see them through like the top ring of the octagon. But sometimes you wouldn't see the shot if it landed or not. So you'd look up.
Yeah.
And there was a couple seconds like delay, like very, very minor. Like you could see it in the corner of your eye. But second they got to the ground, straight to the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of like that, like in hockey when they pin it up against the boards or something. I'm looking at the screen. But it is a lot easier to track the puck on white ice than to see, I don't know, pretzel arms kind of from that far.
You know, it's great to be able to see some of that stuff live, but I found even the boxing sometimes to a certain degree, I was watching it on the big screen TVs far more than I was actually watching it live. And it's like, maybe TV would be a better option.
I feel like I will feel that way if I ever go see an F1 race in person. Like if I bought seats, like, the cars only come by your spot once and it's very quick and then they come back, but it's a small portion of the track and I'm missing all the overtakes or I'm missing everything else that's happening that's on the track. So I'll be watching a lot of on TV.
You have it on Prime on your phone or something.
Well, and that's where like, I don't think I would enjoy being at an event for the most of it, but the actual race, I feel like I'd rather just probably go sit and watch it on a TV somewhere.
Horse racing's like that too. I mean, when they're on when they're in front of you on the final stretch.
It's been a long time since I've been.
But when they're on the back stretch, you got to be watching it on the screen because you can't see what's going on. You can't see the numbers on the horse when you're looking, at something that's 200 yards away from you. You got to watch it. It's been
years since I've been at a race. I don't know. I've never found myself watching the TVs at a track though. At Centric Casino, where I only could watch on the TVs, I've watched many races though this past NFL season or CFL season. I'm gonna have to go to Century Mile and see if that's how I would do it.
Well, it's hard watching it live.
But like hockey, I love watching like NBA, baseball, football. Like I go there, I love watching the game, and I wouldn't watch the screens as much. But there are the other events, partly depending on your seats.
Yeah,
most of the seats could be very like going to a March Madness game. Like if you go to the final, let's say the championship for March Madness, they go to a basketball stadium. I think that would be hard to watch if you're not relatively close. If you're
Right.
sitting in the second deck, that's a small court in the end. I don't think that would be enjoyable as much to watch. And I think you'd be following, like, you don't know who's taking the shot. You can't sit there and pick which player is really making the shot from where you are, I would think. As for fight night, so Tommy tweeted out highest grossing. He had highest grossing UFC fight night in history.
In history? Oh, I thought it was North American.
Says UFC says they'll probably come back to Edmonton with a pay-per-view event in the future, to
I
which
would hope so.
Zach responded within quotes, probably. They got to come here at least every 2 years, if you ask me.
They would sell. Like, people, I met people from Saskatchewan. They're coming from all over the place to venture out to Edmonton to come see this fight. And
This was the third UFC event in Edmonton, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I think so. The last one was Max Holloway versus Brian Ortega, maybe. I don't remember, actually. Frankie Edgar. Ortega was more recent, but that was like 2017. They got to come back more often. They would sell out.
Well,
they would sell
if it's the biggest grossing in history, why in the hell wouldn't they be here?
So 2019, they came here. They only had 12,000 people show up at Rogers Place in 2019. That was
the
Holloway, Edgar.
Edgar?
It also had Cyborg and Spencer on the female side. And then, yeah, this was the third time in history.
What was the date?
I will get
when
that for a
was it?
second. I just want to see when the other fight was, because I'm trying to see if I'll have to go look that one up later. That July 27th.
Okay, July 27th.
And then is this 2000 or UFC 215 had Nunes versus Shevchenko
Yeah.
and Magny versus Dos Anjos.
The Sanchos.
Thank you. September 2017 they had a similar 16,000. Wait, I think that last UFC though that was in Edmonton, I feel like that one had issues. Like
with people purchasing.
well, no, I think like somebody had a bow out or something. I could be wrong on that.
That happens a lot, though.
Heavyweight bout between Tanner Boser and Lemos.
Lemos?
Yeah. Giacomo Lemos or something was scheduled, but it was scrapped at one point.
Well, Tanner Boser's nobody. No disrespect on Tanner Boser. He's from Bonnyville. He fights out of Edmonton. He hasn't fought in over a year or so, but his UFC record isn't very pleasing, I guess. He's not a big name, but he's an Edmontonian, and we love Tanner Boser. He's got the mullet and everything. Alberta written all over this guy. You could see him from a mile away, and you could tell he's from Alberta.
So now, yeah, we'll see when the next UFC event comes to Edmonton.
2026.
And you will be there.
I will be there.
You say 2 years. That seems
Pretty
I think that's a
That makes sense.
pretty decent time for. At least you're not saying next year.
No, they can't.
Like-
I was thinking that originally. Like, they can't come here every year. They have to do it in the States and stuff. And there's
I
certain
don't know why you couldn't bring a
policies.
pay-per-view to it.
Here?
Yeah, next year. Like, why couldn't you plan for, like, how many pay-per-views do they do on average a month? One?
One or two, I think. I don't know if there's one or two this month, but John Jones is fighting this
So what,
month
they
as
average,
well.
what, 14, 15 pay-per-views a year?
Give or take, yeah. I don't know the exact number, but they could maybe. But I wonder where they would have it, because now they have one at MSG coming up. However many are seated in that arena, I'm not sure. Very similar to Rogers Place, I'd imagine, but I could see that. I would love a belt to be on the line here in Edmonton, and like that would be crazy.
Well, the rest of the year, I'm assuming the numbers are the pay-per-view events. So 309, MSG.
that's gonna be huge.
310, T-Mobile in Vegas.
That's not what's not gonna.
311 in January is to be announced. 312 in February, Sydney.
Wow.
Yeah, they fight all over.
So they have to do so many in the States, but I don't know. I think being realistic is probably 2026 if it were.
That's crazy.
It was unfortunate.
UFC 300 and some. I remember watching the first ones.
Yeah, those were crazy.
Yes,
those
they
were awesome.
They were.
But-
When they were tournaments, and
Yeah.
you had to fight. You win a tournament, you had to beat three guys in one night, man. Like that was
know.
unbelievable.
It was in Friends. UFC was a part of a couple of episodes of
Really?
Friends. Monica was
I don't
dating a
remember
guy that was in the early days of UFC. The official drink of the EST Hangout, it is the Finnish long drink legend in 1952, a drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment, real liquor. Longdrink.com/Canada to find where you can get a long drink nearest you. Just enter in your postal code and it'll find you what liquor stores have ordered them recently. It's time now for the EST Flyway to LA, presented by the 780 homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton, both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They work with close to 100 local brands from the 780 to help promote and get their brands off the ground. 780.com is where you can check them out online. That's the word 7, the number 80.com, or any of their 5 locations: Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. You know what the Flyaway is all about. Trip to LA, Clippers, Warriors, Intuit Dome, Cards, Rams, SoFi Stadium, Edmonton taking on either Anaheim or LA. Flights, car, hotel, all provided by Edmonton Sports Talk and presented by the 780. The phone to text in, or the phone to text in, the keyword to text in to 780-218-9999. It's Fowler. Fowler, 780-218-9999. If you're seeing Edmonton take on Anaheim, you might be seeing Cam Fowler play. Fowler, Fowler, to 780-218-9999. You have a few minutes to text that in, and then Trev will give someone a call. We'll talk to you on the air, and you'll be the next qualifier for the EST Flyway to Los Angeles, presented by the 780.
Speaking of the Ducks, did you guys see the mustache that Radko Gudas, the captain of the Ducks, is wearing?
No.
Oh man, he's sporting like a, what was it?
Radko Gudas.
He's almost up against like Larry McDonald for his stash.
Lanny
He had that
McDonald.
legendary handlebar. This guy, that's one of the
Ooh.
best stashes I've seen. Better than Stewart's. Like,
my
it is
gosh.
a crazy, crazy handlebar. It's like he should be a part of the Hells Angels kind of look. You know what I mean? Like, he looks like a mean dude. And usually he'd have that thick beard, but he shaved it so
Does
perfectly
he
for the
look
mustache.
mean though?
A little
That
bit.
doesn't look mean to me.
I don't think
Right
he
in this
looks
picture.
mean. You know
It
what?
might be the Ducks jersey that doesn't make it look mean. Like when you have that duck, the old school Mighty Duck, maybe that takes away some of his
I
meanness.
actually don't
got the
think
little
it
chin
suits him. I don't think it's. I think he would. Yeah. I don't
He
think
needs
it
longer
suits him.
hair.
Yeah.
His hair is
something's
a little
off.
cut, I think.
Something's off with
Almost
that.
looks 70s-esque if he had longer hair, no? Like if he had put an afro
You
on
need
him
like
right now.
a ponytail.
Maybe an earring and a neck tattoo would fit in, make it look a little better. I don't know.
That's an interesting stash.
I know.
There's
a lot
interesting.
of
Yeah.
there's
So
a lot
you-
of good ones.
So you were watching Anaheim get beat by my Hawks yesterday, were you?
Actually, no, I wasn't. No.
Oh.
I just saw the picture of Radko. I was watching some of what was it, the Blackhawks and the Sharks it was the other day?
Kings. It was
The
on
Kings?
TV on Saturday.
Okay, no, I was thinking the Battle of California, was it? I don't know. But I'm trying to watch those lower down teams with some of those like up and comer players. And I don't know, the Blackhawks kind of surprised me. Well, now they have Bertuzzi. Hall is kind of coming back from injury, which is nice for him to actually be able. He's played more games than he did last year already, I think
Yeah,
it
he
was.
has, yeah.
He only played 9 games or something last year.
6, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and then who else did they have on their team that is a big name that they added besides Bertuzzi?
Well, Tuevo
Forgetting one.
Teravainen.
That's a big one, yeah.
And we added another Alec Martinez on D, although he's injured right now. The worst signing we ever made in the history of the world, who's already healthy scratched the last 2 games, TJ Brody. Ugh, he's
Healthy
awful.
That guy's like a
TJ Brody.
7th D.
Two games in a row, yeah.
How much is he? Like $4.5 million or something?
A little. That's 3.7 maybe. And then another injured, which is really going to help us, I think, down the road here, is Laurent Boissois. It was signed as our kind of 1A goalie to Peter Mrazek, but he hasn't played. He got hurt just before training camp started, and he's probably going to be another week or so, and he'll be back. So
And he's always been like a really solid backup. Like even moments when he was on the Oilers, he was very good. And then he went. Did he come from Winnipeg? He was in Winnipeg,
he was in Winnipeg
as well.
twice. I think he has 2
Yeah,
tours
he was
of
in
duty
Winnipeg, and then he went. I can't remember where he went. Then he came back to Winnipeg.
Yeah. Yeah, his stats are outstanding. He's just never really been given a chance to, get a little more ice time in. But his stats are absolutely outstanding. So phenomenal backup goalie. But could he be more if he was given more? I don't know. Time
Maybe
will
on the
tell.
Blackhawks. Like if
Well,
you're
I mean,
given the
Mrazek
chance,
is
right?
Mrazek is really good.
Yeah. Last year his stats weren't very. I mean, he's not on a great team. It was a downgrade in his last year's performance because he was good on the wings, and then he was signed there 3 years ago, was it now? And he kinda had the dip.
Last year he was unbelievable.
Was he?
Like, oh,
I thought one was last year where he's
if it wasn't
What am I
for
thinking
Peter
of?
Mrazek, the Blackhawks might have won 5 games last year. That's probably
they
how
might
many-
have had Celebrini.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, Celebrini's played 1 game this year. He isn't. Yeah. Because he's been.
He's,
hurt,
I think,
but
getting closer to coming back.
He should
Yeah.
be. And then Broberg's out now.
I saw that play. I was
Ugh.
watching that. How long is he out for? Did they say? Because that didn't look good.
No, I honestly don't know, but it wasn't a promising looking
Yeah.
play. It didn't look like
No, like
minor.
high ankle sprain's my guess. If it's not broken, I mean, it could have
As
broken
of
his leg.
2 hours ago, from a beat reporter out there, Jeremy Rutherford, they practiced today. Says they'll get an official update on Broberg. They're hearing the injury isn't as bad as originally feared. He can miss a month, maybe more, but it sounds like a more serious outcome was avoided.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
good then.
Yeah,
And then Andy Strickland saying doesn't expect to be season ending or anything.
Nice.
So yeah, well, a break is typically 6 to 8 weeks unless it's something crazy. But sprains can sometimes be worse than a break. But
Because it lingers, right? Like
it can for sure. Yeah.
you could feel like you're good to come back, and then you might rile up again.
Yeah, it's been interesting with those guys in St. Louis, though. I mean, they're playing a little higher up the lineup maybe than they would have in Edmonton, but they're producing and
They're making the most out of their opportunity out there.
Yeah, it's good for them.
Credit to them. Would have happened in Edmonton? Who knows? We're talking with Rashog today on the mandate. Him and Will brought up great points. Like put Colson is one of those cases where sometimes it just takes, you have to be in a separate new team, the fresh start, second team, you play well. And the Oilers are benefiting from Put Colson. Maybe that's what's happening. I'd more so look, well, I'll go both of them, I guess. Holloway and Broberg is that they've gone to their second team and getting a little more opportunity. This is happening there. Maybe it would have never fully happened to this level, at least in a short sample size here in Edmonton.
Wow.
You never know.
Especially Holloway up front. I mean, Holloway would not be in the top 6 in Edmonton, period. No chance.
He might be
No.
shadowing right now. With the injury, right? But
Yeah,
mainstay-
but he would have been
Middle
he
six.
wouldn't have been top 6 to start the year.
No chance. I mean, if Jeff Skinner's typically on the third line in Edmonton, it's not like
Yeah.
Holloway's going to be playing above him. So, yeah, no way he would have had this opportunity if he was here.
Momentarily, we will catch up with somebody for the qualifying for the flyaway to LA presented by the 780. I do want to get your thoughts on Chris Morris in a bit.
Yeah.
Once we get the caller on, I don't want to cut the conversation off shortly here. Oilers, though, tonight, Devils, they're starting to play better. Like they've turned this around, I would say. Like I hate actually using the word they've turned it around because I think it just there was nothing to turn around. They were always going to be fine. I don't think it was ever got that bad. They're getting their legs under them and catching up to where they should be. I think that's more so what we're seeing.
Well, it's kind of a lot like last year. I mean, last year they did have the coaching change, and it was a little worse last year than it is now. But you had to have known that all of those players that were playing so bad at the start of the year weren't going to play that bad forever. And it's kind of the same thing this year, especially like when you look at a couple examples like Zach Hyman. I think it's kind of naive to think that Zach Hyman's going to put up 54 goals again because that's an anomaly in his career. Last year was a career year. So if I would have maybe expected him to be more normal this year for him, 30, 35 goals
That's where I have him.
is probably what's realistic for him. So he had 0 until 2 games ago, but his shooting percentage, I mean, he had 0. His shooting percentage over his career is whatever, 9-10%. He's not going to stay at 0 forever. It's just not
The
possible.
Oilers shooting percentage at one point throughout the season, I think last week, I think Greg Wyshynski had the tweet, was like 4.9% or something.
Which
Like
is
it was
not going to stay that way.
no, statistically, the numbers would
Impossible.
tell you over 82 games, that number's going to come back up.
Exactly.
The expected goals, guys.
Yeah.
Am I right? Chris Knobloch even brought that up. He was like, well, he's at like 4.5 expected goals. And I was talking to some guy who does those advanced stats, and he was saying if a player is at 4 or 5, he's bound to score. It's going to happen soon. And it happened.
Yeah, so it's just an anomaly. I mean, they're going to be better. It's clear that their defense needs some work. They're going to need to add on the back end at some point. Forwards. It takes time to build chemistry too. They turned over a lot of forwards this year, a lot of the roster this year, and so for the guys to find the right mix. I mean, just because they had that line of thought of Skinner and Arvidsson and Draisaitl, well, they never really showed any chemistry together. So they have to find the right mix, and it's taking some time. It takes time to gel, and they're starting to figure it out a little bit. But hey, McDavid, they're 2-0 without McDavid. Maybe they should look at trading him. Clear up their cap space issues, get some extra depth. Come on.
You want to go get a couple of defensemen. How many? What top defensemen, 2 defensemen could you get for Connor? No, there's a couple of those jokes.
1-for-1.
There's in our EST
would not
chat,
do
there's a
that.
little bit of a jokes of those.
Well,
going
obviously,
around.
I'm saying that in jest as well.
100%. Yes, throw that out there.
I'm not suggesting you trade Connor McDavid, but boy, wouldn't it be interesting to see what they could get?
I don't think you would never get real value for him.
You don't think they could get real value for him?
He's because also you have to look. It's a cap thing. To get real value for him, you'd need more than 12.85 million. Like it would have to be like, if I'm looking at the Avs, for instance, it would have to be. Oh, that's not plugged in. My headphones. No, I'm missing a bit
somebody
for
on,
it.
yeah.
I know. Well, because I'm not hearing myself. I have my headphones in. I don't think I think we might not be able to take the qualifier in the air today. Because I don't have my stuff. Garrett? Yeah. You could just let him know. Apologies on that. I don't have anything set up for that, and I just realized that because I realized I can't hear anything. Garrett, congratulations! You qualified for the EST Flyway to LA. I took off a piece of something away, and that didn't work. Your next chance to qualify EST afternoons with Hernan and Gager. Where was I there? Oh, so if you got Makar, you'd have to Makar plus.
Absolutely.
But then it'd have to be RFAs to match the cap, right?
Right. Well, that's like, okay, so is there the plus there? Okay, maybe the Avs might be the only team that would have to only give up maybe a couple pieces to if you wanted to go legit equal value. Where you're adding Makar's going the other way and you're getting McDavid. But what other player out there would you trade McDavid for that you go, okay, that's equal? It's not. Okay, or like, okay.
Nothing equal. He's the best player in the world.
But then how many pieces have to be added to make it equal? And then you have to realize right now it's 12.5 million. The value you're getting in return is going to be always higher than 12.5. So you then would have to give up more to make the cap equal again. And it's just, I don't think you would ever truly get the value for Connor McDavid. He's underpaid at 12.5. He'll be underpaid at 16 million for what he actually is and brings to a team.
Like, look at like the Flyers. Like, this is crazy trade that I like. Say a Matvey Michkov, Jamie Drysdale, and an Owen Tippett. I don't know how much. That's about 11 million or something, 12 million. Then you need like 3 first-round picks to even sniff that to be even equal. Michkov is a great player, but it's not proven yet. It would never happen.
Like, people have thrown at me, oh, well, Connor Bedard. Okay, the Blackhawks would never trade for Connor McDavid because they have so many young guys. They're not ready to contend right now. Even with Connor McDavid, they're not going to contend right now. So the Blackhawks would have zero interest in trading for him. But you look at teams that are a little further down the road, New Jersey, Buffalo, teams that are kind of there, but not quite there. I mean, those are some of the teams. Detroit would be another team that I think. I mean, but you look at some of those teams and they're good young players that they have, and you piece together 3 or 4 of those and a couple of first-round draft picks, and on paper you might have something that the Oilers would go, that might be pretty good, but you're never going to do it.
It might not be worth it. Like, if a team were to be like, okay, we need to get Connor McDavid for whatever reason, you're gutting your team. That's basically it. All right, you're going to have McDavid. You're going to look like the 2015 Oilers. You know what I mean?
But some of those teams have been on the bottom. Their prospect pools are pretty solid that they might be able to elevate.
But you couldn't trade
guys.
Prospects for McDavid because it's not equal value. It'd be a guess. I'm saying if you always wanted to get true equal value, but to get, you wouldn't know that then that's equal value.
Well,
that's why you would never, for some of those elite players, you would never actually get true value for return. You'd always lose that trade in a heartbeat. In my mind,
trade him cash straight up.
Yeah, okay.
I wish the NHL allowed you to trade cap space.
There would be trades that could make sense. It'd have to be 2 or 3 pieces for now that could come in and play well now. Plus, like you said, 3 first-round draft picks or 2 first-round draft picks and whoever they drafted first last year, or whatever. I mean, on paper, you could look at them and go, well, yeah, this might, but it's obviously never going to happen. Yeah. But
NHL 25 mode, like if you're any other team, how could you get Connor McDavid?
Oh, I've tried multiple times, just like just to try and get like a dynasty going, just to get McDavid. It would be like I would tank for the first couple seasons, get like the first, second, and third overalls or something. Say I got them in that order. Their trade value is like through the roof. So I put all three of them there, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, these players will be almost as good as him in like 6 years. But if I trade him right now, I could get the best player, 99 overall McDavid or something like that. And they're like, no, we're not looking for that right now. So then I add like 2 first-round picks, and I'm still like the bottom of the league, and it's just like, yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Even in like the fantasy world, it's just not going to happen. It's so hard to try and even fathom that. But honestly, if the Oilers are winning right now without him, just keep him scratched for a little bit. Draisaitl plays
healthy scratch him here.
Let him get fully healthy. Let him get fully healthy.
Yeah. But the other piece of the Oilers, though, is they just, to a man, they need to be a little more consistent. I mean, they're still trying to find that chemistry, I feel like, and they're getting there a little bit. But you know, as much as I've defended Stu, I mean, over the years, I mean, he played great last night, and he's a legit number one goalie. So I would never suggest, and I don't think anyone ever should suggest that they should get rid of him, because he's an elite goalie in this league. But he could be a little more consistent. You know, some of the other guys.
It's early still. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying somebody could be a little more consistent.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting we'll see him tonight. Optional skate, but I'm expecting Calvin Pickard will get the start. I don't know. I don't think there would be any other changes the Oilers make. GCLD's Oil Stream pregame show, 5:30 today. Tommy, Hernan, and Cass will get you set for that game that gets going at 6:30. Oil Stream at noon. Tommy's at the rink today for the optional skate. He'll be on with Reed Wilkins today on the Oil Stream, since our fearless leader is still down for the count.
Man, I miss him. I miss just seeing him. He's so happy. Like anytime I see him, he's like, "Hey Zach, what's up?" It's bad to not.
He's
have
a
him.
good man.
He is still ill. He found a way to make it to Regina, but he was in our group chat, and he was struggling through that game. He texted us like, "I don't know how I'm making it through this right now." And now he's going to a doctor, because now you go see a doctor. Well, should have seen it maybe sooner.
After a week and a half, that's what. Yeah.
Going to see a doctor. So hopefully he gets some right medication to be back sooner rather than later. Chris Morris, president, thoughts?
I like it a lot. I mean,
and thoughts as a fan, but also a major partner of that team, and you know, all around.
I was hearing Fleming. Was kind of the only name I was hearing, but I mean, Chris Morris is in the mold of Fleming in terms of his history with the team. As both a player and then, being in the community. And I don't know Chris crazy well. I know him a little bit. He is a golfer and whatnot. And man, he's saying all the right things. And he's got a plan. And I'm sure he's going to stick to it. He's a good man. And as turned around a completely different level, but the Golden Bears program, which was horrific, and turned them into a pretty successful program. And then the business side of the Golden Bears Football Club, under his guidance, has been absolutely phenomenal. So, I mean, to me, you see kind of what's going on here with under Larry Thompson. They got an alumni as the president. Ed Hervey's going to be the GM. I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that it doesn't pan out that way.
It works out that way because, I thought, well, he's the GM of the Ticats, and then it was Farhan, I think, or Dave Naylor was the first report. His contract's up after this year. Farhan over the weekend suggested that the Elks have asked for permission to already speak to Ed to get that going. It makes sense, which then also throws out there, this name was thrown out, I can't remember who, a couple of weeks ago. It was a couple months ago, maybe. Maybe it was you. I don't know if it was you.
Well, let's see what you're going to say.
Jason Moss,
Jason Moss.
Coach. I think I said to you, he's locked in until 2026.
Yeah.
But there's an easy out to that, which is if you just have to give a promotion in the Canadian Football League to hire someone else.
Yeah.
So if Ed Hervey you get for whatever, he just comes. You give Jason Moss the title of assistant GM and head coach, there's the promotion.
Yeah.
His contract doesn't matter with the Montreal Alouettes. Is that the return? Do we see something like that? Yes, you're the one that said Moss.
Yeah, I think if they can make that happen, I think that's what they kind of have in their mind. But and the other piece of that too, I mean, yeah, you could play that game, but man, like they have him locked up, and like, man, if they lose this weekend, Montreal loses this weekend and doesn't get back to the Grey Cup, and Moss says, "Man, my family's still home." I'm offered this opportunity. Would Machocha actually say, "Screw you, you're staying here"? Like if you had a,
but I don't know if he can.
Well, yeah,
I don't know. Like I guess you would have to. I guess it's the permission. I guess if Danny Machocha says I don't grant permission to speak to him, I guess in that way. But then what stops Jason Moss from resigning?
Right.
And just saying, "Here's my resignation. I'm out."
Right, but then he's under contract, and so
but you can
how
if you
does
get
that
a
work?
promotion.
Right.
Like there was a Chris Jones issue. Funny how things come back always to Chris Jones. When he left Calgary to go to Toronto, and that's where I think all of this came in, where you need promotions and things like that to get out of contracts. And that's why his relationship with Huff turned sour, was that Huff was mad that he left and didn't want him to leave, but Chris Jones was able to force his way to Toronto.
Yeah.
And I wonder, could you get that done with Jason Moss if you really want to?
Yeah, and I think they really want to. Now, a special teams coordinator, I love Mark Killam from Calgary coming up here.
Although he was in the running for the Bears position when Chris Morris got it.
Oh, that would be interesting.
And he's an alum of the Golden Bears.
Yeah.
So it actually, and they're not tied together, the move of Chris Morris coming to the Elks and him leaving Calgary. But it might be the perfect coincidence for the Golden Bears football team going, we just lost a great head coach. Oh, look, this other guy we wanted is now free.
Yeah, funny how that works. And I don't think this is going to happen at all. But Ed Hervey is really tight with Chris Jones. So
he's not.
Well, geez, he's a GM at Hamilton, and where did Chris Jones land?
That's
week
Scott
later?
Milanovich. Well, I know. Okay, unless things changed, I know when Chris Jones left to Saskatchewan, there were issues between Ed and Chris Jones.
Are you sure? Because there was problems between Ed Hervey and the president.
There was that too, but there was issues between Jones and Hervey.
Interesting. Because I mean, not that I was going to say that Chris Jones is an awfully darn good defensive coordinator, but
he won't be coming
back. No.
He's tight with Milanovich because Milanovich had him as his DC in Toronto, but I think they were together with Don Matthews in Montreal. So the Scott Milanovich Chris Jones connection dates years. Like it's a long-standing connection that those two have. So it's Scott Milanovich bringing in Chris Jones more than Ed Hervey, I think.
Yeah. But, with the old guys, though, I mean, I don't want Jerry Jackson around because I think he screwed around Trey Ford too much. But, just keeping the interim GM as assistant GM, I don't know what his relationship is with Hervey, and maybe you just cut it all clean. But,
I don't see how you could have both working together.
Yeah,
unless Giroy is comfortable being just an assistant GM again.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If he's assistant GM, but if you promote Jason Moss to assistant GM just to get him here, whether he's really the assistant GM
or does Giroy look? Hamilton's going to need a GM potentially. Who are they going to go get? Type thing, right?
Fair.
Like, is that
Well, the other names that are out there.
Who's the defensive assistant or whatever the hell it's called in Hamilton right now? Does he bring Giroy over with Scott Milanovich? And, does Chris Jones go to them and be like, hey, let's bring this guy?
Who are the other names that they're throwing out there? That assistant GM of Winnipeg.
And the assistant GM or a guy with the BC Lions. Ryan, it starts with an R and it's Ted starts with a G in Winnipeg.
Yeah, Govea. I think. Ted Govea.
I'm not able to pronounce his name.
But I think, so, I mean, there's other options out there for Hamilton.
Yeah, for Edmonton, if I had to guess, I bet it's Ed versus Giroy. It's either you stick with what was going, because they did ultimately win 7 games in the end. You stick with that and Giroy, because that's also what Chris Morris say. He wants to start getting rid of the revolving door. One way to start doing that is to keep the guy in charge. Or you're going to someone you trust, you played with for a few years here in Edmonton. There was a pretty good connection, I believe, between the Bears and the Elks Eskimos at the time when Ed Hervey was the GM. Obviously, Chris Morris was with the Bears. I don't see how another name jumps in unless somebody wows Chris Morris in an interview.
Who would you rather see in that position though? G-Roy, Simon, or Ed Hervey?
I Ed, because I feel like that's probably a better chance of keeping Trey than G-Roy.
Yep.
And it all comes down to, I want Trey here in Edmonton. I will say this about Ed. I love Ed. He should never have left Edmonton. Len Rhodes made a huge mistake with that one. And this would be righting a wrong from the Double E history. But his time in BC wasn't exactly the greatest.
And why he left there, I mean, there's some shady stuff that was
absolutely
going on,
there's that as well. But it's one of those where I don't think it's a slam dunk. We're gonna see like he gonna perfectly fix this team just immediately. He needs to prove it again a little
Sure.
bit, not a lot. Like I will have. If you asked me, 4 years ago, Ed Hervey, I would have had like probably I'm 100% confident in Ed being the GM of a team. Right now, I would probably be like 90% confidence with Ed. There's a little bit of his recent track record that I go, are we focusing too much on 14-15 and what he built here and not enough on recently and go, okay, maybe I wasn't looking close enough or whatever it is. So it would be a wrong written though. Rewritten. A wrong righted. A wrong righted.
Righted?
A wrong righted.
Right, lefted?
Because he should have never been fired.
Yeah. So when you look at him, I'm going to relate it to Jason Moss a little bit. Like Jason Moss was the head coach here. He got fired and went on to Saskatchewan and then went on to Montreal. And I think he's grown and learned a lot as a person and as a coach.
He stated that after the win last year, that because of his time in Edmonton and Saskatchewan, that allowed him to be what he was in Montreal.
Right. And that's it. And I wanted to be Ed Hervey. I think it's the right fit. And I think maybe working with Chris Morris would be a heck of a lot different than working with Len Rhodes. But I really hope and feel that if that comes to fruition, I really hope that in Ed's experiences, he's learned and grown as well. Because like he didn't get along with everybody. He is a guy that has a big, strong personality and, he needs to he needs someone to be able to put him in his place. And Chris Morris is probably
I think Chris Morris could do it. I've said there's a few people. Rick Lawler sure could do it. I've been told Sean Fleming, he really respects Sean Fleming. Sean Fleming would have been able to keep him in check.
Yeah.
I always say Dave Jamieson would have been able to keep him in check. But then talking with Dave after the press conference, he explains, like we were just talking about various things and Ed came up and he just explained the relationship between Chris and Ed from back in when he was PR of that team. And he said Ed was right near the lockers of the offensive linemen. And there's not a lot of time the receivers would kind of hang out with the offensive linemen. You got your cliques in a locker room because positions stay kind of close together at times. Yep. And Ed was almost like an honorary offensive lineman with that group. I would think Chris Morris, if he needed to clear his throat because he wasn't happy with something, that would have no problem doing that. And I think Ed would respect Chris to go, oh, okay, I need to, like he didn't respect Len Rhodes. Len Rhodes didn't earn his respect.
Yeah, I get it, and I understand
right?
that. Yeah.
And so it's also like if you're gonna be a little scared or timid around Ed, Ed's gonna run all over you. You're not doing that on Chris Morris.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not doing that on like the guy's nickname as a player. I don't think he really likes it, but I'm gonna use it for this right now. It was Sea Murder, like, and it was given to him by Alfred Payton. Like, if that's what you're like, that guy, I don't think is worried about that type of stuff. So. For Ed, he always needed someone, I've always felt, above him that could keep him in check, put him in his place, and could look at the overall big picture. Like when, there was a microphone live coaches wanted to do it, and Jason Moss didn't want to wear the live mic, and Ed was like, yeah, we don't need this. But it's like, well, if a business thing needs to be done, you need that person that could be like, hey, no. You're doing it.
Yes.
Saying you're doing it. And I think Chris Morris would be that guy. So I think that works with Ed.
And that's a big part of it. Like Ed refused to let the media in the dressing room. I mean, like, no, you need the media. You need Edmonton Sports Talk talking about the Edmonton Elks and whatnot. And like Ed didn't care about any of that stuff. All he cared about was the football side. And no, you need to think bigger than that because it's far more than just the football team.
And the issue was he came in after Eric Tillman and he didn't like anything and respect Eric Tillman how we did things. And
fair again.
Fair, but he went too far. The one way. He went too far being the anti-Tillman as opposed to just being like, hey, I need to not do these things. He went all the way too far. And that's where, again, You need someone to put him in place, but there's not many people that can do that. But I would suggest that if needed, and Ed Hervey does become the GM of the Elks, Chris Morris would absolutely be that guy and would have no problem being that guy to keep Ed on the right path.
And those conversations are clearly going to be happening. Like, so, yeah, I think that's the way, I think that's the way it's going to work out. They're going to have those conversations. There's going to be some hard conversations about the way Chris Morris wants the organization to move forward and how he wants them to be from a business perspective and the cooperation with the football side. So those conversations are going to happen. And if Ed's on board, then I think Ed will be here.
What did Chris say? Today he's starting the work on it. I think that's what he said. Today's the start of the work of the GM by the 24th. So in 20 days. At most,
yeah.
The Edmonton Elks will have a new general manager of this football team. It's time to get to Accu Warriors, brought to you by Accu Steel Heavy Haul Trailers, custom manufacturing heavy haul trailers for mining, oil and gas, equipment, highway transportation, trusted by the leaders in the heavy transport industry. Get on the road with peace of mind for your large loads. AccuSteel.ca. It's the Devils who are the road team here in Edmonton, taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Only one other game in the NHL tonight. It's the LA Kings in Nashville to take on the Predators. Brentford on the road at 1 o'clock, Monday Night Football, Fulham, Brentford, Premier League action, 1 o'clock today. The Monday Night Football most people enjoy, Buccaneers. I believe they're the road team in Kansas City. Where's my NFL scores here? Are you just saying that?
No, that's a good game. That's a good
Bucks road team in Kansas City, 4-4, taking on 7-0. Bucks have a couple of injuries, though. It's not going to go well. You could join Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where every day is game day. Loaded Burgers, the daily special for the Monday Nighter today. And I think, do the Raptors play tonight?
Yeah, they play the Nuggets.
I think they're home to the Nuggets. Or are they on the road? Who's the road warrior tonight? Tonight's road warrior. It is the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, they're on the road?
The Raptors head off to Denver to take on the Nuggets. So the Raptors looking to be real road warriors and get the victory. Boom. There's Road Warriors, brought to you by Accu Steel Heavy Haul Trailers.
On those Scotty.
It's getting used to seeing all these sports again. And oh yeah, there's only college football's back tomorrow.
Busy time, isn't it, right now in sports? Lots going on.
Well, we've got CFL playoffs now. Only 3 more games left in the CFL season.
Yeah.
Some good games this past weekend. I'm looking forward to the 2 games coming up in the East and the West final. I feel good about one team game, like that the Argos are going to beat the Owls. I feel pretty good about saying that. I have no idea what to make out of the West. Oh, actually, no, I did say a few weeks ago that the winner of the West semi would win the West final.
Really?
Argos Riders Grey Cup. You heard it here first.
Argos Riders Grey Cup. Holy. Argos Bombers, I think.
I don't want the Bombers to do 5 in a row, 5 straight Grey Cup appearances.
I just don't want Montreal to get back to the Grey Cup and win, because then Moss may not want to leave and come home.
Or he's done it in Montreal. He did 2. It's even easier to leave because I just got you 2 victories.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Good
luck,
Danny. Let me go home. I gotta make things right in Edmonton. Yeah. Gosh, I want that to happen though. I really do. I think that
you want Jason back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of any really other good coaching candidates to. I thought as of last year, Jason Shivers could be a good head coach. I think I need to see a little bit more. I would like him to stay as a DC, though, with this team. I do like Jason Shivers, and I just think given that defense slowly was getting a little bit better, had a little bit of a step back near the end of the season, but then got back going. I'd like to see Jason Shivers have another year with that defense.
Well, and I like Chris Morris talking. I mean, there's some good pieces, especially, on the defense. Like, get some of these guys signed, and not 1-year deals. Get some of these good players signed 2 or 3 or 4-year deals, and keep the core of the team here and build around it, and get the community knowing who the players are again, and latching onto them and wanting to buy jerseys and wear their jerseys and be proud of the team that's here. And you don't do that turning the roster over.
Now, who is the longest serving Elk at this moment?
Currently?
In the last recent years.
I might guess Niles Morgan.
Niles Morgan would be right up there, but that's only like 4 years.
Right, because, I mean, the revolving door, like everyone in and out. There's so many players during training camps and stuff that it just hop in.
There's a book, like it's usually in a book or something of who could be there.
How many years has Cordy been here now?
It's only like his third year, I think. Because Chris Jones signed him in one of his off seasons. He signed in 2022. So
Very recent.
Niles Morgan's been longer. Oh, I forgot Kyron Moore's on the team. He got hurt this year. I completely forgot about him.
Yeah.
Niles Morgan signed with this team in 2021. So there's a really good chance. I'd have to ask Kernan. He would know a little bit better, but he might be the longest serving, which is quite sad. Like until when Calvin McCarty was the longest for such a, like that was like
Forever,
13, 14 years.
Really?
Yeah, he was fullback. He was around for such a long time. I'm just trying to think who else it could be. Like Trey would be up there actually.
3
as
years?
wild as that
3
is.
years, I think.
Trey was 2022, so this was his third year. Actually, I wonder if I could change this. If I go team, if I go roster, no. Oh, if I go team depth charts, I could do this. And then I got a couple of news, or a little bit of news on McDavid from Tommy
Oh,
that I need to get to.
well, that'll be interesting.
Depth chart from the last game of the season. Let this load. And years with the Elks. What's the highest number I see? 4.
4?
4, and that's Niles Morgan. Niles Morgan is the longest serving Elk, followed by, if I can, and this was of the active roster. I don't think there's anyone else that would be on there. There's how many guys at 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 guys are in their third year with the Elks. So Trey
that's pretty
Ford
good,
is a top 9
Most
tenured
player on the
with
team.
the Edmonton Elks at the end
Holy.
of that season.
Oi, oi.
All right, Chris Morris. Sign him. 4
I'm gonna say
years.
this in the
4
end.
years.
I didn't even look at that close. And Chris Morris is completely even more right about this turnover thing.
yeah.
Like, no wonder he's so
It
frustrated.
was a league-wide thing, though, during COVID. It
but
was
that
different.
amount of turnover?
Well,
We're
you'd have
talking
to,
about 9 guys
Yeah, I
who've
feel
been
like
here
it's
3 years or longer.
maybe take Winnipeg out of the mix, and I think you're probably going to find that.
Look. Tom Gazzola had a video of Connor McDavid skating as his injured ankle continues to heal. He adds, McDavid spoke following the skate. He said his ankle is feeling pretty good after testing again this morning. He did not rule out playing by the weekend and added that he and the medical staff are taking things day by day.
Yeah.
Don't rush it, Connor.
So long as they keep winning.
That's the thing. Well, they've won 2. You could afford at least 2 straight losses.
Drysaddle's actually playing. Wasn't the year that he got all that hardware from when McDavid got injured, he kind of took the team on his back and started playing?
Or I think it was his comeback year
up to
from
his-
the injury, I think.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Well,
You'd have to Reed.
anytime-
I know Reed had that stuff, so you'd have to talk to Reed. He'd know a little bit better.
Anytime McDavid's out, Draisaitl just plays that much better, and he doesn't just throw away the puck.
He does. I agree with you.
I love it. And the Avs actually have a bit of an update. They have so many injuries, it's bad. Miles Wood's out, a bunch of AHL recalls, but Nichushkin has been cleared to practice with the team. He's in stage 3 of the NHL Players Assistant Program, so he's expected to come back mid-time this month, supposedly, but we'll see.
That'd be a big
That'll
add to
help.
them because their depth up front is
Yeah.
not very good.
They just called Ivan back up and
Broberg, 4 to
Christian
6
Kopp.
weeks.
hey,
So that's a sprain. He's a sprained ankle then, I think. Yeah.
We didn't talk about the golf stuff. We're gonna have to save that for 2 weeks. There's no timeline
good.
on that, but I do want to talk about that and get into that. So
Yeah, sure.
we will have some time. I'll have to remember that for when you were here. Next, Merck, good seeing you again.
Yeah,
Been a little
you
bit.
too. Been a while.
Glad you had a good time at UFC.
that was a great time. And I know now not to step on frozen grass. That's what I learned from this
Unless
show.
if you care that the grass is going to die. If you don't care if it's going to die, then step on it all you want.
Or on Halloween. Let kids do it. Coming up next, it is the Lock Shop. Huss and somebody from Coolbet will be by. I know the boys will fill in as needed throughout the week. Noon, Reed and Tommy have the oil stream. EST Afternoons with Hernan and Gager. Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne. GSCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, as well as postgame show, all coming to you live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Today, on behalf of Zach Murray, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the EST Hangout. Like I said, Lock Shop coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First time guest,
longtime listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matawanek, Tom Zola with here. Joining us today,